And for Jackson Schmid, that's his 5th interception this season.
And once again, we talked about the organization. You got kids run out in the field for Southern kind of looking over, trying to figure out who's supposed to be out there, what formation they're supposed to be in. Just like the Spartans are just in disarray, whether it's because they're down or, this far in the season, it can't be personnel groupings. It can't be, what the coaches are calling, them not being able to read the signals.
Yep. Handoff goes to Buford, and he's going no place. Orange just stuffs him, roughs him up, and the question now here is, can Southern Durham surpass the 242 yards of total offense that Western Guilford got last week? That is the season high against Orange, and right now it's looking doubtful. And so is the score for Southern Durham. We go to the fourth quarter, and Orange is up 42-7 on the Spartans. And you're listening to HillsboroSports.com.
A friendly welcome awaits one of the great public golf courses in North Carolina. Okanichi Golf Course is proud to be the home course for the Orange Panthers and the Cedar Ridge Red Wolves men's and women's golf teams. They're open to the public with memberships starting as low as $200. Okanichi is a locally owned, third-generation family business with some of the best champion Bermuda greens in the area. Visit okanichi.com for more information. Or you can call 919-732-3435 to schedule a lesson, purchase gift cards, or learn more about tee times. And come meet me at Okanichi.
Chris, you know what that band is right there?
No.
You don't know that band? Okay. That's Sepultura. Had one of the great metal albums of the 90s and Roots, Bloody Roots. So, actually, it was Roots. It was Chaos AD and then Roots. So, anyway. So, kids, go out there and win some heavy metal bar bets if you're listening. Regardless, we are going to the fourth quarter, and Orange is leading this one 42-7. Orange put up 21 points in that third quarter, and they have now outscored opposition in the third quarter this season 62-6. Orange has only given up 6 points in the fourth quarter this season, and that came last week against Western Guilford. Southern has 23 yards passing in this game. I've seen Kendall Hinton complete 4th and 23s from his own 45 in the second quarter of games before. Second down and 11. Southern with the ball back at the 34 after that 1-yard loss a moment ago. And Green with 4 wide receivers. Looks like it was going to be a zone read, but then it was Strong who wound up strong-arming his quarterback, and then he is strong-armed to the turf. Looked like it was Rodney Brooks who got in there on the stop. And Buser wound up taken down, and looks like he is still down.
And you just kind of see the Spartans. They just, like I said, they don't have the spark. And kind of looking back at their scores, we talked about the competition they played and maybe the level of competition that Orange has played. But, their worst loss, they 55-42 to a good Cardinal Gibbons team who was very sound, very smart fundamentally. And then Hillside 7-3 and Wakefield 21-3. So, to some extent, it's been they haven't been able to score, but also, their defense hasn't given up that many points except against Gibbons. So for Orange to be able to score 42 points while at the same time holding Southern to only 7, I don't know if that speaks more volume about the team that Orange is or the team that Southern is not this year.
Right now, Southern has got 89 yards on the ground, and that puts them at 117 total offense since they've thrown for 17 yards. I believe I have that correct there. Yes, 17 yards.
And, Jeff, you almost wonder at what point we talked about they almost conceded the game when they called the timeout and they punted. Do they start subbing? Do they start playing some of their younger players or trying to get some guys some minutes for, not saying for next year, but just in case somebody gets hurt? It just seems like the receiving core, they've got some of the starters out there, but it looks like they got a couple of new guys in. So I'm not sure if it's injuries. I've seen a couple of guys with some tape on their ankles, so I don't know if they've been nursing something coming in, and maybe they're just kind of pulling them out right now. Tyreek Burris is one of those guys, and he's not on the field, but he's got tape on his ankles.
And he's a two-way player. Here's Green, play action fake, pocket collapses, down he goes. Sack back inside the 20. Green first was hit, it appeared, by Noah Rogers, and Ryan Sellers came in there as well.
And we've talked about all night long, the defensive line is getting pressure on the quarterback, but it's all coverage sacks. I mean, pretty much every sack that they've had, he's had 5 or 6 seconds to throw the ball. There's just nobody open. And the few times he's seen somebody open, he's been a little higher, a little outside, a little right, a little left. But that goes back to the frustration. As a quarterback, when things are not working well, you start to force it. It's like, hey, well, if I wait for somebody to get open, it's not there. So I try to force it every once in a while. And so you're just seeing a great game plan being executed by Orange, able to mix up man and zone and just not have anybody open for the Spartans to throw the ball to.
And that time Green lost 9. High snap on the punt, and it goes through Vidal's hands. He has to dive on it at the 1-yard line. Orange is going to get it at the Southern 1. Vidal winds up diving on the punt. There was a high snap. I think he thought, and then Vidal kicks the ball away, and that's going to lead to flags coming out. This snowball for Southern is just totally out of control downhill now.
And Jeff, you see Coach Robinson, when the ball goes over his head, you just see him immediately. His head goes down, his head is in his hands, just kind of like, what else can go wrong tonight? And as you mentioned, the kicker, and I'm sure he may or may not have known that rule, but if you kick a ball and you're not punting it, it's an automatic penalty right there. Now, I guess the good thing is the ball's on the 1-yard line, so they're not going to get penalized any yards on that play. So it doesn't really hurt them from the statistical standpoint as far as yards on penalties right there.
So Orange gets it at the Southern 1, and if Orange scores and gets the extra point, we're going to have a running clock. My heavens. This game will never run out of ways at this level to surprise you. Quarterback sneak, Jackson Schmid, up the middle, touchdown Orange. It's 48-7. Just an unreal result here tonight.
And Jeff, I wonder if Southern has ever had the clock run against them. I'm sure they've had a lot of clocks run for them.
Oh, absolutely.
As good as they've
We saw that several times last year.
But I can't imagine. This is a new experience. And you wonder kind of how Southern takes this. It's one thing to lose a game, but it's the other thing to just get completely dominated on both sides of the ball. And, whether you finish second in the conference, but you got to wonder what's that going to do to them mentally trying to make a run in these playoffs.
Yeah. And keep in mind now, in the Big 8, you have 7 teams, but 2 have been eliminated from the postseason in Northern Vance and Cedar Ridge. So if Southern Durham looks this beatable from this point on, there's no telling what can happen.
It's going to be...
It's a very interesting rest of this season. But coming out of tonight, there is no question who the top dog is right now.
Right. And we talked about if you would have told me this was ever going to happen, there's no way I would have ever bet, ever believed it.
No.
I figured Southern, if they won, is going to be going away just because of athleticism. If Orange won, it would be a 3-point, maybe 7-point game, but never would I expect a 49-7 game.
Here's the extra point by McKinley. It is up, it is good, and with that, we will now have a running clock. As my dad used to say, they've taken them out to the shed and beat them with a football bat. And he was talking about basketball. It is 49-7. Orange with the lead on Southern on HillsboroSports.com.
Chicken Shack on North Church Street, Hillsboro.
Where did you say we're going after church today?
Oh, Jay's Chicken Shack on North Church Street, Hillsboro.
What's there?
Oh, they have deep pressure fried chicken. It's a delicious recipe with great flavoring. They have great grilled chicken pitas. You can put gyro meat on there with a salad.
That's great. I can't wait to...
Plus, they have breakfast all day, including Saturday and Sunday, and they have delicious beef ribs, hamburgers, and chicken gizzards.
Okay, thanks, Dad. I have to get dressed.
And for dessert, they have homemade banana pudding and peach cobbler, plus Hershey's ice cream, which you'll just love.
Thank you, Dad.
They customize also all their sandwiches with whatever toppings you want, and now they deliver within a 3-mile radius. They're family-owned in Hillsboro.
Mom!
Jay's Chicken Shack is open 7 days a week at 646 North Churton Street in Hillsboro. Call 919-732-3591 and ask about their catering services.
This is another one by Sepultura right here. So this is Roots, Bloody Roots. This is a great song, by the way. All right, Southern Durham with the punt return. We got to talk about something. I feel like we're calling one of these games we used to call back in the day for a 1-10 team. It's 49-7, Orange with the lead after Jackson Schmid scores Orange's 4th touchdown of this half. And now Southern with the ball at its own 38, 1st and 10.
And, Jeff, I think the one bright spot about this game being so early in the season is that if you're Southern, you got a chance to regroup. Hey, we still got the rest of the conference schedule to go through. We got a chance to peak and get ready for the playoffs.
Here's Green looking, chunks it over the middle, and the pass, nice deflection made. That was a good selection there by Green, but Peyton Wilson just dove like he was a goalkeeper on the Premier League on Saturday mornings, making a great save.
And this is one of those games we talked about. If this had been the end of the season and your next game is a playoff game, I don't care how good Southern is. To play that opening game, you're not going to rebound from something like this. But if you're Coach Robinson, you got to say, hey, guys, it's over. It happened. Let's wipe it off the board. We still got a chance in these next 6 games to go through our conference, to get on a 6-game winning streak. And then once we get in the playoffs, it's the better team wins.
This is uncharted grounds, though. Here's the handoff. Buford's got running room out past the 40 to the 45. That might be the longest run this half for Buford. Joey Strong, it appears, went out of this game after the first quarter. I didn't see him receiving medical attention, but he hasn't been out there in quite some time. It's going to be 3rd and 1. He's the leading rusher on this team, so that didn't help matters for Southern without their leading rusher. Buford's only a sophomore, and Buford wound up getting 10 out of that. First down for Southern Durham. That is Southern's 2nd first down this half. 8:15 to go in the game in an Orange domination. Green will pull it back over, run with it on the zone read to the 50, out to the 45. That's the second time we've seen the zone read from Southern ever since it worked for a touchdown. The one other time they used it, it worked for 1 yard, and Green wound up getting 8 out of that. Why we haven't seen it more, I'll leave that up to you to decide.
And that's a great question. We talked about how effective the zone read was the second possession that they got, second time they got the ball. The first time they came out, they threw a lot, didn't go anywhere. The second time they come out, they run that zone read, they move right down the field, and they just kind of went away. I don't know why, if you're the offensive coordinator for Southern, you don't go back to that. You got so many yards, it was so effective, but they just kind of kept throwing the football.
It'll be 2nd and 2, and this is Buford getting the first down, running around the blocking on the right side of the line. That's defended by Jason Ross and Jaden Vincent Horn, and a first down coming up here for Southern. 49-7, but the clock won't stop because of the first down since we're playing with a running clock.
And, Jeff, I'm looking on the sideline to try to see the backup, Quez Harrell, if he's hurt, or, you wonder at this point, do you go to somebody else?
Yeah.
Do you just try to see, hey, can he give us a spark? Is he the guy going forward? Or do you stick with Jalen and just hope he can right the ship?
And here's the pass far sideline. That is caught. Far sideline, Burris makes the catch at the 30 and out of bounds at the 28. The lanky frame of Tariq Burris. It's Marcus McDonald out there to the far end of the field. And that'll be good enough for a first down for Southern, as the gain is good for 13 for the Orange 28. Orange playing with backups right now, up 49-7. It has been some effort by this Orange secondary. Rodney Brooks, Eli Haycock is in there now, but Keshawn Thompson has really been one of the defensive players of the game. This is a team-oriented sport as Buford takes it up the middle and gets out to the 25, and there's no way you can just signify one player because it starts with a good pass rush. Following that comes good coverage with linebackers, Chris, and then if the ball winds up getting knocked away, it's created by the other 10 guys in the field.
And you've seen that. You've seen the linebackers getting into their zone drops. You've seen the DBs playing man and mixing up zone. You've seen when they've done a great job of covering, you've seen the defensive line put pressure on them. And the one thing that's been great for Orange tonight is they haven't had to dial up anything. They haven't had to stunt or blitz. They've been able to drop basically 7 or 8 guys into coverage and cover well and still get enough pressure with those front 3. And right there again, you just see a wall of Orange coming at them.
Yep, there was nothing that Jalen Green could do that time. And Green goes down. After a 3-yard pickup a moment ago, he winds up losing 3 out of this.
It'll be 3rd down.
So it's going to be 3rd down and 9.
And that's pretty – you got a 3-man front, and they're still – I know they're subbing and they're rotating guys in and out, but they're still getting pressure on the quarterback. They're still putting pressure, on Jalen Green. They're still putting pressure on the guys, and they're still able to do that with a 3-man front against 5 guys.
Orange put 4 down a couple of times tonight, but they've largely stuck with 3, and now we got movement from the Southern